Rise of Skywalker, Deadpool. We're going to talk about who do we think lives and who do we think dies in Rise of Skywalker. I was hoping there'd be some people live in the chat watching it with us so we could kind of have some interesting discussion here. So we'll see if anyone happens to join in at some point. So for Rise of Skywalker, I've got a teaser image up here on my screen if you want to share it. So here's our teaser image we've got. So we're just going to kind of break it down. Let me apologize right now. I'm going to be a little snarky with this because I just have a bad feeling about who's going to die and who's going to live.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, so do I. So we're going to start with the main cast and just kind of work our way through, and we're going to kind of meander around a bit because I think it'll make it so. So we're going to start obviously with Rey. So tell me, Eric, do you think Rey will survive Rise of Skywalker?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's. I can't see any. I just can't see any version of Star Wars where she dies. I just don't see it. She's too important, not necessarily to the legacy of the franchise or anything like that, but it's almost like I think Disney has kind of dug into a certain point that it's like Rey is the key to everything, and she's just too important and too wonderful. And I've heard some really terrible spoiler type things, which you take with a grain of salt about where this is all going, or in different theories and stuff. So I think there's just I think she's completely Teflon. I think she is bulletproof. She's untouchable. She's not even going to lose her hand. I mean, she's everything. So I don't think there's any way Rey dies.
I concur. I think Rey will live. So Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, whatever you want to call him. What do you think, Eric? Do you think he's going to live or do you think he's going to die?
I give him a 50-50. If I was a betting man, that's the odds that I would put on it because first of all, he is essentially the last Skywalker, even though we can get to that later, talk about the legacy characters that are still left. But this is being marketed as the end of the original saga. And of course, the original saga was supposed to be 9 parts, okay? Told in 3-part installments, but 9 parts total. This is the story of the Skywalker family. Now, this is not what we've gotten with the new trilogy, as far as I'm concerned. It has not been a Skywalker story. It's all about Rey. And that's why I give him 50-50. The Skywalker story, to me, it was over in Return of the Jedi. What we're seeing now are fragments of fan service and incoherent garbage that doesn't even hold a candle to what the EU was trying to do. And we're getting like the leftovers of it. And Kylo Ren is the leftovers of it. He's the leftovers, essentially, of the legacy characters because he's actually a descendant of, 2 of the major legacy characters, Han Solo and Princess Leia. He's supposed to be the main villain, the new Darth Vader, if you will, who's obsessed with Darth Vader. It's kind of like his famous line in The Last Jedi, let the past die. So killing Kylo Ren kind of goes along with killing the past. So I give him sort of a 50-50 because he is a new character, technically. But I think he's the one that's truly connected with the legacy. So I'm giving him a 50. Well, you know what? I'm going to go more like 60-40 and say he is going to die. I convinced myself. I thought it was 50-50. I'm going to go like 60-40 and say I think he is going to die.
So I also believe he's going to die. One, he killed Han Solo, so he deserves to die. But secondly, I think he's going to die because he is connected to the original trilogy characters. I think that's the main reason he's going to die.
Yep.
So
I'm right there with you on that one.
So we're going to move on to Finn. Finn was a character I had a lot of high hopes for when I saw the first trailer for Force Awakens, and I was really hoping it was going to be revealed that when the Force awakened, that it was summoning all kinds of people, you know what I mean, to take up the mantle of the Jedi Knights.
Yeah.
Because I really got excited in the trailer when I saw him with the lightsaber, because I've liked him in a bunch of other films and stuff he's been in. And I was really hoping for cool things for Finn, but as Last Jedi showed us, perhaps not. So, what?
I love the way you put that. Perhaps.
Well, I'm just going to say that the Last Jedi changed my opinion about a lot of this stuff. So
that's why it's nice to be live, because
so
Finn.
Yeah. So what do you think about Finn? What do you think do you think he's going to live, or do you think he's going to die?
Yeah, it's funny. You talk about the high hopes of the character, and I was one of those people. When I saw the Force Awakens trailer, I was on board. I thought there was going to be some great stuff. I loved the idea of a stormtrooper who turned good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did too.
And what we got was such drivel. I mean, there's like no depth to this character at all. The fact, not enough people call this out, but a lot of people, there were controversies about racism, and people didn't want, a black person in Star Wars. And I'm like, have you watched the trilogy? Did you not like Lando? I mean, I never heard about the hate for Lando. You know what I mean? So I was like,
right.
And then, to me, it was a lot of hype. It was a lot of marketing that people were doing. But in the show itself, he was the janitor. Remember, they said that he was in sanitation. Yeah. I was just like, this is disgusting. It's appalling how bad the character was. And then they gave him an out in the last Jedi. They gave him an out where he could have died a heroic death that meant something. And it was just disgusting to me what they did. I mean, revolting what they did. I mean, the girl saves him for what? Because what? I mean,
right.
It makes me angry just thinking about it, because they gave him a good heroic out, and it would have been good because they weren't doing anything with the character anyway. The character is just a shell as far as I'm concerned. He's totally irrelevant. And they had an opportunity. So I'm going to say, based on that he's going to live, because they had an opportunity to give him a good heroic death, and they didn't. So why would you now? Unless JJ is taking that approach that he really hates what Rian Johnson. There's all sorts of rumors out there that JJ hates what Rian Johnson did as well, and that he wants to reverse a lot of it. So, maybe I think I'm back to my 50-50. I've kind of convinced myself, because in terms of what's been established so far, he should live. But if JJ decides to take that, hey, I'm just really pissed off about Rian Johnson kind of ruining what my vision of this was. So I'm going to kill him. You know what I mean?
Right.
But JJ is the one who created him. So I'm going to say he's going to live. I'm going to give that one about 75-20 and say that he's going to live.
I also think he's going to live because he's one of the new characters, and that's my whole justification for it. Because I was hoping in The Last Jedi, when he awoke from him healing from his wounds or whatever, we were going to discover that he was training to be a Jedi, because I just love the idea of a stormtrooper becoming a Jedi. And I had in my mind, as an artist, I was envisioning like him realizing the importance of having maybe armor in a battle. And actually we get this interesting thing with the kind of like Clone Wars, where he might actually wear some repurposed stormtrooper armor with a lightsaber, and maybe us getting almost sort of like the rebel equivalent of the Crimson Guard kind of idea, and him being the person that inspires and shepherds that. Because for the longest time, I was kind of hoping that when they said Rise of Skywalker, I was hoping that what they were going to do is they were going to take the concept of the Force as taught by Luke, even though I don't like what they did with him in Last Jedi, and that we were going to discover that the Force, if properly balanced, could be used by anyone, so that, uh, it's not just being a Jedi and it's just not being a Sith, but it's about balancing, both of those, the light side and the dark side. And a new kind of Jedi would emerge through this film, and they would take the term Skywalker as a sign of reverence for what Luke was trying to teach Rey. And so Rise of Skywalker meant that we were going to take Jedis and there was going to be a new form, and it was going to be called Skywalkers. That's what I thought. Clearly, from watching the trailer, no one had this idea. So Finn is going to live just because he's one of the new characters. Even though I have all these visionary ideas of what I think would be cool, I think he's just going to live because he's one of the new characters. And then that's going to be it. I mean, seriously, when I saw him pick up that lightsaber in the original Force Awakens trailer, I was so jazzed, because I thought that they were going to tell us again that you didn't have to be born with some special gift to be a Jedi, that anyone could be a Jedi. And even though I know Rise of Jedi tries to give us that idea, it also reinforces the idea that only certain people born with that ability can become a Jedi. Because the way that
I don't know how I feel about that, by the way. That's a big, you just opened up a big can of worms, canon debate there, because I don't know how I feel about the forces for everyone kind of thing. There was actually a line that I liked in the Force Awakens when Finn actually says that they're going to use the Force to blow up Starkiller Base. And, Harrison Ford in his very snarky Han Solo way says, that's not how the Force works, except
right.
that is how the Force worked in the movie.
Right.
I would argue, actually, you got your wish. That is how the Force works in the movie. That's how it works in the new movies completely. Whether it's stated that way, that's how it works. And I don't like that at all, personally. It was well established that the Jedi would have to seek out specific people that had sort of a connection to the Force to begin with,
Right.
and that's the way it works. In fact, Lucas took it a step further, and he said that it's based on the midichlorians, and it's based on how many midichlorians you have, and either you have them or you don't, and that's it. That's how the Force works. Either you got the midichlorians or you don't have the midichlorians. So, and then that has to do with the level of your power, is how many midichlorians you have, in conjunction with training. And so you kind of you get it, you have the idea that yes, you sort of have to have a predisposition to this, like everything else in life. I mean, when you talk about being a fast runner or being physically strong, obviously people are sort of born that way, and then what they do is they cultivate it. So to me, I like the idea of the Force being something that, yeah, people are born with various levels of propensity for it, or lack thereof, perhaps, but they also have to train and get better at it. What I don't like is a person picking up a lightsaber, which that doesn't make any sense at all, because a lightsaber really doesn't have anything to do with the Force. It's just the weapon that the Jedis use. It's still a physical instrument. The idea that you're going to be good at wielding a sword, because that's what a lightsaber is, just because of the Force, I'm not down with that at all. You need training, you need skill, you need all that kind of stuff. So, to me, it's a combination of the two. And so I was never on board with the Forces for everyone kind of thing, I guess. That's just not something that I like. So
what I meant by that is this, okay? Just like with athletics and everything, and I trained in martial arts for a lot of years, and this is kind of the perspective I'm taking with it. Some people take to it easier and have more physical gifts, and then other people have to work at it harder. You know what I mean? But are still able to attain a certain level of command of whatever it is that they want to learn how to do through discipline. So growing up, I always had the idea that there were certain people that were born who would take to the Force easier, and who may even have a calling to do something, you know what I mean, in terms of service of the universe or karma or the Force or whatever you want to call it, such as Luke, but that other people, if they wanted to learn to develop and harness the Force, that they could learn to manipulate it in some way, not enough to, for example, topple a AT-AT walker, only people born with that rare ability, someone like Luke, like Anakin, like Yoda, would have enough natural ability that if they trained, that they could reach that level. But using a sports analogy, I played baseball as a kid. I can still catch a baseball and I can still hit a ball. It doesn't mean I can play in the major leagues. But I like the idea that the Force is like that. It's something that everyone's aware of and to an extent, and they could learn to manipulate in a small way. And every once in a while, you might get lucky and hit a home run. But I like that concept better than a small group of people are just born with this specific thing, and if you don't have that, you could never do it.
I guess to me, it comes down to the level of what you're doing. Like I liked what they did in Rogue One with the Guardians of the Wills, where they weren't really able to manipulate the Force. The interpretation I took of them was that they kind of flow with the Force, and so they use the will of the Force itself. That's the way I took the Guardian of the Wills.
Right.
But the idea that everybody can make things float around and do stuff, I'm like, nah, I'm not down with that.
Well, I'm just of the opinion that I think there was more room to explore the Force in a different way than the way that they've gone about it. Because when I heard that they were going to, with Force Awakens, that they were taking a look at the original Star Wars films, they were taking a look at the prequels, and they were figuring out what to keep and what to tinker with, I was hoping their concept of the Force was going to evolve a little bit more. You're still going to have those people that, are kind of like Highlanders, you know what I mean, that are truly unique, and there can be only one kind of idea, but also, too, you're going to have other people that are aware and able to manipulate it in some small fashion. You know what I mean? That's just what I wanted to believe. But the point is this, okay? Finn is none of those things. He's going to live because he's a new character. Moving on. So Poe Dameron is another character I was really excited about when they were talking about Force Awakens. I love the idea of a Maverick, Top Gun, X-Wing pilot guy being featured in an important part of these movies. I was very excited again about this character before Force Awakens came out. So what do you think, Eric? Rise of Skywalker. You think Poe Dameron is gonna survive it, or you think he's gonna die?
Well, I do want to say that with Poe Dameron, I didn't have the same thing with Finn. With Poe Dameron, when I first heard his little comments, I think from the actor, where he was talking about, I'm sort of like the new Han Solo. I was like, you're not going to be the new Han Solo. This is total hype. This is crap. And I was right. The character is total hype. He's crap. My first reaction to is he going to die or not is who cares? I don't think anybody cares. But being that I think I'll go with your kind of philosophy with Finn, that because he's a new character, he'll live. But my initial reaction really is, who cares? I mean, does anybody really care about this character?
I didn't get those comments that he said his character is like the new Han Solo. All I heard was that they were hoping to create a Maverick, Top Gun type of a fighter pilot character for Star Wars. Similar to like, Wedge Antilles was in, the Rogue Squadron books and such on and so forth. And I love that idea, right? So I liked him in Force Awakens, but then I look at Last Jedi, and he spends most of his time trying to engineer a mutiny on board a very slow-moving starship. So
yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. It's starting to get.
I know, but that's not what you said you guys were going to do with this character. Like, why is he like? And Leia's talking to him like, "I hoped you would be one to command." It's like, command what? He's a fighter pilot. I mean, he might command a squadron, but his first best destiny, to use a Star Trek quote, his first best destiny should be in the cockpit of his ship with BB-8 at his side. You know what I mean? Like fighting the good fight. Like that's what I was told he was created for. Why is he standing on board a slow-moving ship trying to engineer a mutiny? Like, anyhow.
Because no male character in that in that movie was allowed to do anything that made any sense. They weren't allowed to show any competency. They weren't allowed to show any positive attributes whatsoever. Every single male character in that movie was an idiot, a coward, pathetic, pathetic. So that's why I say I don't even want to get into it, because it just makes me angry, because that's what that movie was. Not even their new characters had to be idiots and cowards. I was just like, this is ridiculous how bad this is. So
Right. And then I look at the stuff that they've shown us so far for Rise of Skywalker, and he's on the ground and he's running around with people, and I'm like, I thought he was an X-wing pilot. So I think Poe will live just because he's one of the newer characters, but I feel like that what we were told he was going to be and what he's turned out to be are just two completely different things. I think his first best destiny, if they'd done it right, could have been as that cool Top Gun Maverick X-wing fighter pilot, because that's something that we read about in a lot of the novels and stuff, but except for Luke, we didn't get to see a whole lot of it. I mean, we saw Wedge in the different battles, but we never really followed one of those characters through and saw what their adventures were through their eyes, in a more direct, literal sense. Like they weren't one of the stars, and everyone loves the X-Wings and they love the space battles. And I feel like this is such a tremendous, huge missed opportunity to follow along in a character, in the cockpit of one of those, you know what I mean? One of my favorite things about Rogue One is I almost lost it when they're doing the attack on the planet, and it dawned on me as the X-Wings and everyone's flying in and they're reporting in before they start their combat runs. That's right. The fighter pilots that did the Death Star run, they're still alive. We're going to get to see them win you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I loved seeing all the original X-Wing pilots be heroes, and actually win the day. That was that. I love Rogue One. That's such a cool movie.
yeah, I love it too, and I love. Well, the thing is, I always loved Red Leader, and I always thought Green Leader was cool, even though he kind of freaks out and all that stuff. But I always had growing up, I had like love for Porkins. You know what I mean? Like I knew like every single one of those pilots. And I even have a Porkins action figure. I have a Porkins action figure.
Well, there you go.
So it's like I was really into it, because what you have to remember is George Lucas based his fighting sequences of the pilots. He based it on World War II fighter pilot groups, and then this is the last time we've really had huge, massive air-to-air combat. So he based it on the last thing we have in real life that represents this. And what J.J. Abrams did was he based his stuff on the movie. You see the disconnect?
Right.
So he's not basing what he's doing on any kind of reality. He's basing it on, being a little kid and a dumb little kid and watching the movie theater and being like, oh, that's cool. That's great, And so then he adapts it that way in his movie. My brother and I talked about this a lot. It's just like, because we're trying to figure out what's missing here. And that's what's missing. So it's like, it's an understanding of taking something that's real and adapting it to a fictional landscape versus taking a fictional landscape and adapting it to your own idiocies. You know what I mean? Your own whatever, your own biases, your own inclinations. And so there's no grounding in reality of the new Star Wars, of the current legacy. Understand that stuff. I guarantee you, he just does not understand, or he doesn't care. He may understand it and just say, you know what? The audience is so dumb. They don't get it. They're just going to like a bunch of random planes flying around. They're going to like, the thing with the beginning of The Last Jedi with Poe going toe to toe with the Star Destroyer and basically making the Imperial guy look like an idiot. I mean, that scene was just stupid. Do you ever watch how it should have ended series?
From time to time. I don't keep up with all of them, but I watch them from time to time.
Well, they do great stuff. They really do. It's funny. The animation is really good. It's good stuff. But what they do is they do various things throughout the movie. Like they'll take plot inconsistencies, stupid situations, and they'll do all sorts of stuff like, well, it should have ended right here. It should have ended right here. And then they do, well, this is how it really should have ended. And they actually, address the ending. But, it's kind of like when you're plotting a story, there are certain things where your suspension of disbelief is just challenged too much. And to me, it's the very first scene. And what they did and what it should have ended is when Poe's coming up to the Star Destroyer in that first scene to do his little banter, they just shoot him.
Right.
One of the gunners just shoots him and blows him up. That's it.
Right.
End of movie, and then the crawl. So it's like that's the kind of stuff that irks the heck out of me. And like you said, this is a person who's supposed to be a pilot. He's supposed to be the pilot. That kind of thing. That's obvious enough. Whatever else he was supposed to be. And then he's hardly ever flying. And when he does, it's just stupid. It's just goofy. It's dumb. It's unrealistic. I love the way they did it in Star Wars. I love those characters who have like 2 or 3 minutes of screen time. This character with all his screen time, I could care less about him.
Right. Yeah. And I just look at Poe and I just feel like it was just I don't know. I mean, maybe Rise of Skywalker will change my mind, but I feel like just the concept of what they were going to give us, you know what I mean? Just to me, before and the ramp up or run up for Force Awakens sounded really cool. And then I feel like that what's actually going to be happening in Rise of Skywalker, it's like, I don't want to see him running around having land-based adventures. He's an X-Wing pilot. He should be. Think
about how the Force Awakens started. That's how it starts. He's on the ground. I mean, it's like from scene number one. From scene number one, they didn't know what they were doing. So Again, I just say he'll probably live because he's a new character, but who cares? Who really cares about that character? I can't imagine even big modern Star Wars fans care about that character. I just don't. Right. I know my kids don't. My kids could care less about Poe. They love Rey. They don't. They barely know who Poe is. They could care less.
Right. So here's where I'm going to lump a bunch of characters in together. We'll do 2 of them separate, and then I'm going to lump some characters together. So,
we getting into legacy characters yet, or are we still doing new characters?
We're getting into legacy characters now.
All right, so we got to address. I can't even remember her name. The girl that saves Finn. Then we should at least say
Rose.
Something about
Rose,
because people are speculating on that. So we'll at least give that to anybody who's into the new trilogy. Rose, do you think Rose is going to live or die?
I haven't really thought about it.
Well, then you give me your spontaneous reaction, just like
my initial thought would be if any one of the new characters is going to die, it's probably going to be her, because if her and Finn have a connection, it'll be like a big emotional. Oh no, she's gone. So I think she's one of the few new characters I think they might kill for dramatic effect.
A lot of people think she's going to die, and I can see her dying because of this. It's going to be like Finn screwed up, and after she saved him, he couldn't save her. You know what I mean? Because, he's a guy and he sucks, and, she was a girl. She actually saved him, and that's how it's going to be played off. So I can see her dying. It'll be something heroic, and it'll be something where Finn could have or even should have done something and didn't, and it'll just show how much better she was than he was. So I'm going to say she's going to die, but in that context.
Right. So now we get to, in my mind, we come to the really important characters, the legacy characters.
Wait. Before we we got to address these other characters we don't care about.
Okay, right. We'll run down the roll call.
What about what is it? Hux, the Imperial commander?
No, he's dead.
Dead?
Yeah, they'll kill him because he's part of the bad guys. It's the last movie. They got to start killing some of them. So he's definitely dead.
Okay, so he's dead. I agree with you. I think he's dead. Do we have any other Imperials?
None that I know of.
So
you
notice I'm calling them Imperials. I'm not even going to do this First Order facade anymore. So,
right.
Anybody else? No, there's nobody else, is there? Is there nobody else?
Nope, that's it.
Because they already killed Snoke, so there's no other Imperials. Is there any other rebellion people?
No one that really has made a strong enough an impression for me to.
BB-8. What about BB-8?
Oh,
is BB-8 going to live or die?
I kind of like BB-8, so I hope BB-8 lives.
But do you think he will live? It's not just a matter of whether you want him to live or not. Do you think
he's a new character? He was a popular toy. He'll live.
I love. This is why I like doing this live. He's the popular toy. There you go. That's what I want to hear. This is what people want to hear. He's the popular toy. He's going to live. So yeah, all right. I'll go with you on that. I think BB-8 will live. I think now we're done with the new characters, aren't we?
Well, I was going to say the Pixar lampshade guy. He's gone.
I love the Pixar lampshade guy. Yeah, that's awesome. So the Pixar is dead. The Pixar's mascot is gonna find its end in Star Wars. You heard it here on Rogues Radio.
Yeah, I think so.
The Pixar Pixar icon's dead.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're gonna get into legacy characters, and I do have to mention this because I don't know we haven't discussed this. So this is the first one that I'm gonna bring up. I heard Wedge is gonna be in this. Did you hear Wedge is gonna be in this?
I've heard rumors.
Do you think he's going to be in it?
I kind of hope not.
Okay, so that
I kind of hope he's stuck to his guns and he's not in it.
So this is going to be kind of like an honorable mention because we don't know whether he's in it or not. Now, I had heard when they asked him, because I did read an article that he was quoted in where he said he was asked to be in The Force Awakens, and not only did he say no, he said, hell no. Why the hell would I even do that? But I've heard now that he turned around and he's going to be in this one. So this is kind of like an asterisk. So if he's in it, do you think he will live or die?
He's dead.
He's dead?
If he was stupid enough to come back for this movie, they're going to kill him.
If he was stupid enough to come back for this movie, they're going to kill him.
Yeah, they're going to kill him.
All right.
Just as sure as I'm sitting here, because. Well, as we go through legacy characters, you'll see where my particular opinion is coming here.
All right, so I think that segues us in now to the legacy characters. Let's talk legacy.
So I do have a group of them I'm going to lump together, but we'll start off without the ones I'm going to lump together. How do we feel about Chewbacca?
Chewbacca. That is a hard one. Yeah, that's a hard one. You know why that's a hard one?
Why?
Because of the toys. That makes it a hard one for me. You know, I am not. Yeah, this is a hard one for me. I'm not sure how to go with this one, to be honest with you.
It's an easy one for me.
It's an easy one for you. We'll be hearing your philosophy in a second, but for me, you know, honestly, Chewbacca. Look at him in all his majesty. I mean,
yeah.
Now, interestingly enough, in the expanded universe, they did kill Chewbacca. You're aware of this, right?
I'm well aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the expanded universe, they did kill Chewbacca. So this is my reasoning. So based on the toys, based on the fact that they can recast him forever, and based on the fact that they did kill him in the expanded universe, I'm going to say he's going to survive. I think Chewie's going to make it. I think he's going to be Rey's dog at the end of this, by the way. I mean, he will no longer have any other relevance. But, yeah, I think Chewie's going to make it. What do you think?
Chewie's a legacy character. He's going to die.
I see where this is going. Well, and you know what? It's hard to argue that, but you know, I do think that Chewie can make it based on what I just told you, because they killed him in the expanded universe. and because he's very popular, he's a great toy. My daughter owns a Chewbacca jacket. I mean, so I mean, I think that there's a lot of reasons to keep Chewie around. Plus,
Oh, I mean,
people really love Chewie, even
yeah,
though it was only in the books and expanded universe. There were people that were really pissed off when they killed off Chewie in the expanded universe. You know,
yeah.
so
I love Chewbacca. It's not that I want Chewbacca to die. It's just he's a legacy character. He's not going to make it out alive.
no, I see where you're going with this.
There's a lot of house clearing to do in this last movie.
So I'm just gonna say, yeah, I actually do think he's gonna live, and that's because they want to be counter to the expanded universe, and because of his how valuable he is as a toy. The only way I can see him being taken out is if they introduced a new Wookiee. If they introduced a new Wookiee, then I can see him being taken out, but they should have done that a while back. So I think Chewie's going to make it.
You think they're going to shy away from shoehorning a concept in at the last minute that's a little bit hard to take?
I could see them doing that too, but I'm just going to predict based again on the fact that they killed him in the EU, so he's kind of like the quote obvious choice because hey, they killed him in the EU. See, we're trying to show the EU guys that we care. You know, first of all, they don't care about the EU people, so I think they're going to keep him, and also again because of the toys, and I think Chewbacca is a line too far for them. So I just think Chewbacca is going to make it. I think he's going to be Rey's dog after this. So
you're so optimistic.
Well, I think they're going to do horrible things to the character, like they've actually been doing since the beginning. I mean, even the original trilogy kind of slighted Chewie. So we all know about the metal debate. So Chewie's kind of gotten the raw end of the stick since the beginning, but people like Chewie. So I don't think they're going to kill Chewie. So that's just me.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to lump two characters in here together because they've been together, I think, almost since the very beginning. C-3PO and R2-D2. Do you think C-3PO and R2-D2 are going to live or die?
C-3PO, I think it's obvious he's going to die. I think we see that scene in the trailer where he's being reprogrammed. I gave my take on that I think the Red Eyes is some sort of virus or some sort of program, or he was possessed by the soul of Palpatine himself. I don't know. It's going to be something stupid. But I think the basic idea is that he's been corrupted somehow, betrays them somehow, and then they realize that the virus or whatever has vital information, but in order to extract the vital information and clear up the problem, they're going to have to deactivate him and essentially kill him. So I think C-3PO is dead for sure. And R2-D2. So R2-D2 again. When you talk about the toy argument, it's hard to imagine them really wanting to get rid of R2-D2. Now, granted, there's 100 other droids that look just like him. So, R2, poor R2. He's been totally irrelevant in this new saga too. You know.
He has completely almost irrelevant.
Gosh. I think I'll take a step further. I kind of hope they just put him out of his misery and just get him out. I don't even want him affiliated with Star Wars anymore. So I'm gonna say I think they're both dead.
I'm gonna concur. They're both legacy characters. They're dead.
Yeah, I think everybody sees where you're going with all this. So
right.
But yeah, I kind of think he's gone. He's the one. Even though I love R2, I kind of hope he's gone because I don't really want him. I don't really want him with whatever the future of Star Wars is. I don't really want him involved anymore.
Well, I have a feeling R2 is going to go early in the movie because they just need to get him out of the way because they clearly have no plans to do anything with him because even in that scene where 3PO is saying, I want to take one last look at my friends, R2-D2 isn't even there. It's the Pixar robot and BB-8.
Yeah.
It's like, So I think R2 somehow gets taken out early in the movie just so they don't have to deal with what to do with him.
Yeah, I
So,
kind of tend to agree with you on this because yeah, it's really honestly it's really sad. It's really sad what they've done with him because you know actually with C-3PO too they've basically done nothing. You know, like these characters, these beloved characters. I mean, look at them. I mean, that image is iconic. You know, this is from Tatooine. You know, I have the image up of C-3PO with R2-D2 right there in the sand. You know, I mean, this is
right,
Star Wars. This is the heart and soul of Star Wars. You know, the whole idea was that you can tell a saga that goes on for thousands of years if you wanted to with the droids because the droids never die. So it almost seems like, yeah, of course they're going to kill him. Even though these are the characters we can have forever, we can always have C-3PO and R2-D2. You know, R2-D2 especially because R2-D2's voice is we don't even have to worry about his voice like we do with C-3PO, right? Um,
right.
we can have him forever. And so just for the fact that we can have them forever and their legacy characters, yeah, it's like, yeah, they need to die. And maybe that's the best thing because that way they won't be associated with this trash anymore, you know? So,
Right.
but it's just really sad that they've done basically nothing with them. You know, like C-3PO's big thing was, oh, I have a red arm. By the way, did you ever read that comic book about his red arm?
No, I couldn't care less about his red arm.
Oh, that comic is actually really good. I highly recommend it to you. I lent it to several people, and I had it with me at one of the Comic Cons, and I left it like where I was sitting. I left it, and
Yeah.
of course somebody stole it, and because I was actually like somebody had brought it back to me after reading it. Everybody loved it. It was a really neat story about the
Hmm.
Red Arm. It goes back to the whole thing where I was talking about the Battle of Jakku and the fact that you only know about this if you played some of the games like Battlefront or if you read some of the books. It's not addressed at all in the film. There were other ideas out there that, had they been in the film, would have been really cool, but they went with what they went with instead, And yeah, so I actually do recommend that comic book, the one about C-3PO's red arm. But yeah, that's all he did. And then with R2 didn't do anything. I mean, R2 technically, I guess, put that puzzle together to find out where Luke was, which was like, well, I wish he hadn't done that because finding Luke was the worst thing ever.
Right.
Let's
Should
just
have
leave
left
it
him.
alone. Uh, in fact, yeah, he actually did something really bad because, first of all, we don't need Luke. That's very clear. Luke is completely irrelevant. So, yeah, it's just stupid. It's really bad what they did to these characters because these characters were so essential. They're so central. I mean, the story is really supposed to be from their perspective. It's like, every scene practically, one of them is there, That's the idea. And yeah, instead we got what we got. And so let them rest in peace. How about that? Let them rest in peace.
Or Pete says, yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I think they're both gone. Just because it seems pretty evident to me they don't know what to do with them and they know they're beloved. So let's get some mileage out of whacking them, shall we? Um, so we have another character that hasn't been featured in a trailer that I feel confident will show up. I think that when Lando shows up, he's going to have a pal with him, a compatriot, his second in command. Are you familiar with the guy from the Cloud City who had the ice cream maker?
The ice cream maker?
Yeah, there's this popular character. They even made a toy out of him, but he's clearly carrying an ice cream maker when they're evacuating Cloud City and Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, I think I have heard of this. This is a pretty obscure thing you're talking about.
Yeah, I think Lando's going to show up with that guy. And what do you think? Do you think that guy's going to live or die?
The ice cream maker guy?
Yeah, if he shows up in Rise of Skywalker, he's a legacy character. Do you think he's going to live or die?
The ice cream maker guy. The ice cream maker guy from Best.
There's only one correct answer, but go ahead.
Oh, the ice cream maker guy from Bespin. You know what? Just to be contrary, you know what? I'm gonna say he's gonna live, man.
There's no way he's going to live.
I and by the way, that's the same caveat that I had with the with Wedge, because I personally don't think he's going to be in it. But
Right.
if Ice Cream Maker guy, if he's in it, hey, look, I even found him. For
All right, there you go.
I found Ice Cream Maker guy. So Ice Cream Maker guy, if he's in it, I think he's going to live. I think he's going to make it. He made it out of Cloud City, right?
Well, he got lucky making it out of Cloud City. He is a legacy character. He will die.
Did you see I found
if he shows up on screen, he is dead.
Did you see I found the toy?
Yeah, see.
I actually found an image of a toy. I don't know if that's a custom or what, but yeah.
No, they made an actual real toy out of the Ice Cream Maker guy. They made a toy out of it.
I have, unfortunately for those listening, you can't see this, but I actually found the image of the toy of the Ice Cream Maker guy. So he's dead, huh? All right.
Yeah, he's dead. But he'll show up with Lando. He may or may not have a line, but he and his beloved Ice Cream Maker will both perish somewhere during the course of the movie. So, how do we feel about Lando?
Lando. How do I feel about Lando? That's a great question. Lando. And I actually found an image of from the current one, right? This looks like this is him in the new movie,
yeah.
Right? So, Lando. Will Lando die? Now, Lando was supposed to die in Return of the Jedi, wasn't he?
Well, I mean, I know there was one version where supposedly the Millennium Falcon was destroyed, and there was these ships that were supposed to fly to the center of it or something. I forget. So even in that context, I think he might have lived. The only original trilogy character I remember for sure that there was a lot of debate about killing was Han Solo, but I don't think that necessarily translated to Lando.
Yeah, I want to save the versions I heard, because I don't think there was any debate. I think that was Harrison Ford saying, "I want the character to die." That's well known. Harrison Ford always wanted Han Solo to die in Return of the Jedi. That's well known. But Lucas never entertained that. He said, "No, that's."
I know, but Lawrence Kasdan also agreed with Han Solo that he should have died.
Yeah, whatever. But anyway, what I did hear was that actually Lando was supposed to die. That he was going to make the run, blow up the Death Star, but he did make it out on time. That's what I had heard. That there was a version of the script where that was going to happen, and I heard that was something that was considered almost up to the end, that Lando wasn't going to make it. So, Lando. It seems such a waste to bring him back for one movie and then kill him.
You mean like Han Solo?
Yeah, like Han Solo. Yeah, that's a good analogy. It seems like such a waste, doesn't it? So I guess in that logic, they're going. Here's something, okay, and and I will say this. I have the courage to say this. One thing we have to remember with Billy D. Williams is black, okay, and so killing a legacy character who is a minority is problematic. So I'm going to say he's going to live. There you go. And
you are so optimistic.
So it's not optimistic. It's not optimism. It's a form of pessimism. You know what I mean? So,
it's optimism. It's blind optimism.
Well, I say he is going to live. I say that Lando is going to live.
He is going to die.
He's going to die.
Have you been paying attention to the new movies? Legacy characters always die. So Lando somehow will die. Just as sure as I'm sitting here. I hope our viewers and listeners understand I'm having a little bit of fun with this, but I do think there's a really good chance this character's going to die. I just really think that. So, all right, so we're getting here towards the end. We've only got a couple more left. Now, do you want me to get to another one of the big legacy characters, or do you want me to do my grouping?
Uh,
Because I have a group of characters I think are definitely going to die.
a group of characters that you think
Let's
keep it individual for now. Let's keep it individual and then do your group
right.
for the finale. There we go.
Well, I guess we kind of have two legacy characters we could talk about, whether or not they're going to live or die. One of them I do think is going to live. So we got two left. So
tell
how
me
do
which
we?
one. So just give it to me randomly. In no apparent order. So
no apparent order. Okay. How do we feel about Emperor Palpatine?
Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, we know he's going to be in the movie in some form or state. What do we think? Do we think Emperor Palpatine's going to live, or do we think he's going to die?
Emperor Palpatine. So again, we're down.
Remember, he is a legacy character. Just keep that in mind. He is a legacy character.
I am aware of he's a legacy character, and I'm aware of your philosophy.
All the way back to the prequels.
Emperor Palpatine. Well, the first thing I'm going to say is I don't think he should be in the movie in the first place. It negates the value of Return of the Jedi. But then again, The Force Awakens kind of destroyed the value of Return of the Jedi, since the Empire and Rebellion are still basically in the exact same state they were in the original Star Wars. If not,
so you're saying if he came back to the movie, he's going to die like Wedge Antilles?
Will the Emperor die? So a lot of it has to do with what they're trying to set up for the new trilogy, if anything, which they have to try to set up something, I would imagine.
Man, all this optimism. Keep going.
So no, that's I'm being pragmatic here. You got to set something up. So will the Emperor die? Again. You know, I have to go with the who cares on this one. You know, I'm gonna have to go with my own thing, because it's like he already died. Why are we bringing him back? You know, he's dead. So I'm gonna say, you know, who cares?
This is one of the few characters I'm excited to see in this movie, because I've got to see how they've somehow figured this out. But beyond that, he's a legacy character. He's going to die.
He's gonna die.
He's a legacy character. He's the villain. Of course he's going to die. He may come back later on down the road, but he's going to die in this movie. That's for sure. He dies at the end of every third movie, doesn't he? Except for one? I think he does, right?
Well, yeah. There's only one other trilogy we've seen, and he didn't die in that one. So, but anyway, you know, I think everybody understands where you're coming from.
Okay, all right. Just in case that point wasn't quite made clear. Legacy character, he's going to die. Okay.
He's dead. All right.
So we have one major character. We've got a grouping of characters, and then we're out. So we're going to do the last single character here. So Princess Leia.
All right. So you kind of gave it away. You probably should have. Hey, you kind of gave it away. You should have probably.
Then the grouping of characters first.
I don't know. So anyway, Princess Leia. Okay, so this is the one that I think we actually get to have a little discussion about. So, Princess Leia. Will Princess Leia die?
In the movie.
The irony of the situation is, of course, that the actress is dead. That's the irony. And she is going to appear in this film. My understanding is she's going to appear based on outtakes from The Force Awakens. They didn't have enough for, I guess the other one, Last Jedi. Gosh, I hate even saying the name. So they didn't have. I guess they didn't have any footage from that because she was already in bad shape. And they do have some alternate takes or whatever from The Force Awakens, and she's going to be in this latest film. So, will they kill her? I think not, and I think that's strictly because she's actually already dead, and they feel like it's, for whatever reason, they feel like it's exploited. You know, it's exploitative, right? Is that the term? It's exploitative.
Yes, exploitative. Yes.
So they're going to leave her as sort of, the eternal matriarch and she will be in a good place and have apparently very little effect on what's going on in the story because there's only so much they can use. And yeah, I think she will live. I do think she will live.
I concur. I think Princess Leia will be one of the few legacy characters to actually survive the movie in some form.
Yeah, I think that they feel that it would be in bad taste to do otherwise, which is really ironic to say because I think these movies are full of bad taste. But I think that that's going to be their sensibility because she's female and she's a legacy. I think that she will survive. I think she will survive, and she'll be in a nice little place too. When they by the time the credits roll, you'll know that she's all good. She's all good.
Alrighty, so we're here at the end. Our longest show ever. We're here at the end. Okay, so this last thing is a grouping of characters. Okay, we're gonna call this the Force Ghost Squad. Okay, and like at the end of the movie, to help Rey defeat Emperor Palpatine for reasons no one's going to be able to completely explain.
Oh God,
we're going to get an all-star roll call of Force Ghosts that are going to come out to cheer her on. We're going to get Force Ghost Yoda, Force Ghost Qui-Gon, Force Ghost Luke, Force Ghost Anakin, Force Ghost Jar Jar. We're going to get Force Ghosts of like Obi-Wan. Like they're just all going to be there and they're going to cheer her on. Okay. So it's the Force Ghost Squad. Okay. All legacy characters. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I think is going to happen because otherwise it spoils the bit. Somehow, just like the way that they show up, Emperor Palpatine is going to somehow manage to kill all the Force Ghost characters, even though they're already dead. They're legacy characters and they're going to be ripped right out of the Star Wars universe through some dark force ability we don't know about, and they're all going to die again for real and be totally gone this time. All of them. So the Force Ghost Squad. How do you feel about this all-star roll call of legacy characters that's going to show up at the end to cheer on Rey? Do you think that the Force Ghost characters are going to live or are they going to die?
Did you see the picture I put up?
I did.
That's what I think of that. That's what I think of that. So for our listeners, the image that I shared was the revised Force Ghost appearance at the end of Return of the Jedi, the one that shows Hayden Christensen.
Right.
Which I think is just disgusting. It's one of the things, and I'm not a big hater of the special editions. I think there was a lot of good things, for instance, they did in Star Wars, but this I thought was an abomination. The idea of putting Hayden Christensen, and I like Hayden Christensen, by the way. I'm not a Hayden Christensen hater. I actually really like him, especially in Revenge of the Sith. And I hate this image. I hate this reversing of history where they took out the mature, Anakin Skywalker that had been in the suit this entire time. And for some reason, he's his younger self. You have to ask yourself, like, I have a lot of respect for George Lucas, but what is the logic here? Why isn't Obi-Wan the Ian McGregor Obi-Wan then? Like,
it will be in Rise of Skywalker.
Well, it has to be, right? Alex,
they had a series to sell. It will be.
So yeah, that's what I think of it. Like as much as I hate what they did in the special edition, that's how much I hate this entire idea, but I can see it. They established in the middle one of the new ones. I'm not even going to say its name anymore. I don't want to remember it. But they had the thing with Yoda where they showed Yoda was able to appear and affect the physical world. It's
right.
The stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life because it basically destroys the whole rest of the franchise. It really destroys it because the idea if you can be a Force ghost and you can come back and affect things, why the hell haven't they been doing that? You know,
Right.
why do they need Luke? Why does Obi-Wan? Obi-Wan even said when he was struck down, "I'll become more powerful than you could ever imagine." Well, I guess that's what he meant, right? He could destroy things. So why didn't Obi-Wan just come back and kill Vader and blow up the Death Star and kill the Emperor? He's a ghost, so they can't stop him, and he can affect the world that way. So why didn't Obi-Wan just do that himself? Why do you need?
Right.
It destroyed things so bad. The only issue there is I do know JJ had a lot of problems with what Rian Johnson did. There were a lot of things that I don't know what the specifics are. I just know that there's a lot of things that J.J. Abrams had kind of plotted, and Rian Johnson apparently said, "Screw that. I don't care. You know, I'm just going to do my thing." I think Snoke was a big thing. I think J.J. had a plan for Snoke, and Rian Johnson said, screw Snoke. You know, he's not relevant to my story. So, because he even said that, Rian Johnson, with all the flack he got about Snoke, he was just like, he wasn't important to the story, you know? Who cares about Snoke? Which, by the way, I agree. Who cares about Snoke? But a lot of people, you know, who actually got into it were like, who the hell is this guy? What's his? How'd he get involved? You know, who is this person? You know,
You never know. Force Ghost Snoke might show up.
But he's a new character.
Stand with the legacy characters. Last defiant stand against Emperor Palpatine and his evil scheme, and be like, "You might have killed me through your twisted disciple when I wasn't paying attention, but we're gonna get the last laugh. I got my ghost gang here together. We're gonna stop you now in your crazy mechanized walking chair thing." All right, so.
There you go.
So yeah, so how are we? Oh yes, I forgot. Force Ghost Mace Windu will also show up.
Yeah, for our listeners, I just put on an image that actually shows the modern. It's not Luke. It's
No, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's all.
Mark Hamill said who that was. It's what's his name? I wish I could remember. But that's not Luke, but the guy that's in the second one. And then
right.
we've got Anakin, Qui-Gon, we've got Yoda, we've got Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan, and then we have Mace Windu here. So
yeah, we're gonna get Dooku, the tall-headed guy, like all of them. It's gonna be a cavalcade of stars. It's gonna be a Force Ghost reunion. And they're all going to be there together with Snoke, and their whole goal is going to be to stop Emperor Palpatine. So how are we feeling? Because I'm telling you right now, they're all going to die. Even though they're already dead, somehow they're going to kill him again. How are you feeling about the?
Will it be Ghost Vader or Ghost Anakin?
Oh, it's going to be Ghost Anakin.
No Ghost Vader.
No Ghost Vader.
Put up a very nice image of Ghost Vader in Lego form for our
No,
listeners.
but we already see on the trailer, like Vader is represented by the mask that they also destroyed because it's a legacy mask. I mean, you see it in the trailer. They smashed the legacy mask in the trailer. You know, let the old things die, right? So, all right, so here we are. So, again, we got the Force Ghost squad, the Cavalcade of Stars.
Cavalcade.
What are you thinking? I think they're all gonna die. Even though they're already dead, they will die again. How are you feeling about the Force Ghost squad?
Yeah, it's hard to even comment on this. I think that you probably will get something like that. So there probably will be some sort of Force Ghosts thing. It's going to be really bad. I don't know if they're going to die. I just know it's going to be.
Come on, they're legacy characters. There's only one answer. Have you been watching these movies? What happens to the legacy characters in these movies? My lord, they even killed Admiral Akbar. Have you been watching these movies?
Yeah. But what about Leia? Well,
that's an exception.
Leia.
That's an exception. It's extenuating circumstances.
So that's pretty bad. The the death of the Force Ghosts. Yeah.
I've been thinking about this all week.
And you have a very nuanced opinion as well, you know.
Well, I've been watching the movies. I'm only reflecting what they're showing me. I mean, in all seriousness, obviously some of the characters are going to die, some of the characters are going to live. I honestly don't have a very strong opinion other than I know if you're a legacy character, you better watch your back. But beyond that, we're obviously I'm obviously too having some fun with this, but no, yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do in this movie. I honestly have no idea how they're going to end it. Like, it's just this stuff in the trailer is confusing. We talked about that in the last episode. I'm totally confused. So the only way I could have fun with this topic was just to, it's like, well, if you're a legacy character, you're dead. I mean, because that's what they've been showing us in the film. I mean, pretty much every legacy character outside of Leia has met some kind of an untimely demise.
Well, I mean, obviously, Chewbacca, C-3PO, and R2-D2 have made it up to this point, so you can.
Yeah, but
Leia technically.
Yeah, but then I mean, we'll see. I mean, so I'm like I said, the point I'm just making is I'm obviously having fun with this Deadpool idea, but I was just thinking, and wasn't intending to be whatever about all this, but I started thinking about seriously, who's going to live and who's going to die. And I started thinking about it. I said, if there's some way that they could kill some of these legacy characters again as Force Ghosts, so they're like dead, they're not coming back. I'm like, they might even whack some of them that way, so we'll see. We'll see how the film pans out, but I don't have a lot of hope for the legacy characters this movie.
I can see a line from Palpatine. It's like, I shall give you a fate even worse than death,
Exactly.
And he zaps him,
And that's the whole reason I think we're going to see Force Ghost Jar Jar, because he's going to be the first one. He's gone. Force Ghost Jar Jar is going to be screaming and turned into something, and then he's dead. He'll be the first one to go.
See, but a lot of people would like that, so they won't do that. Like that one, I can tell you that's not going to happen. Because
but see, that's how they're gonna subvert expectations. You're gonna be happy about Jar Jar, and then Palpatine's gonna turn his wrath to somebody you actually really like next, and you're gonna be like, "What the?" And then by the time he's done, they're all gonna be gone.
At this
and
point,
he'll be laughing
mind
maniacally. Snoke will be dead a second time. Some characters will be dead a second or third time, and you just be like, what the hell is going on?
What the hell's going on?
And then Rey's going to have to reach way deep inside herself and find the strength to stop him. In his weird walking chair mechanized thing that it seems like he's moving about in the trailer. That may or may not also be the Iron Throne. Who knows?
Yeah, it does look like the Iron Throne. I do agree with your call on that.
So, I don't know. Obviously, we're having some fun with this. Everybody relax. I was just joking. I don't seriously think all the Force Ghosts are going to die. But if there is a Force Ghost Jar Jar, he's dead. I'll put money on that right now.
I'd be happy to see Jar Jar back and doing something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Jar Jar. I'm going to start that petition online. Bring back.
You never know. He might show up in the end battle. He might be flying a ship with a bunch of Gungans.
So if that's the case, I'm all on board. That will redeem the film for me. If they are bold enough to do that, I'm on board.
They'll have Palpatine's mystery fleet or bus bumper sticker will be on the back of their ship. Gungans on parade. Anyhow, well, Well, obviously, we'll see. I hope our viewers and our listeners just able to kind of have some fun with this because I was just thinking about it and I got kind of pessimistic, thinking that, how many of these legacy characters are they really going to kill? Because I have a good feeling that if any of the characters are going to die, I think a legacy character is going to go before a new series character. So we'll see. We'll see how this all shakes out. So do you think that's good?